What is up, boys? Back again with another video for y'all. And today's video is gonna be about the decree of God. Now, the reason why I decided to record this video is yesterday was actually a very special day for me. It was my high school graduation. And I was thinking, I felt kind of sad from moving schools. I moved school twice, and I was looking at some of the memories of the former people, and they were talking about the memories they spent together, and I was thinking to myself I didn't spend time with these people for high school, and basically made me feel kind of sad. It made me also reflect. I did some reflection, and basically I decided maybe this was for the best of me, because let me tell you my quick backstory about my schools and stuff. So basically, in middle school, I had to move schools because of COVID, because of rezoning and stuff like that. So then I didn't know anybody, because I went from this school to another school in middle school, and then I left all my friends, and then those were the times when my mental health was very bad. So basically, I isolated myself from the people, and then after that, I went to high school. And then when I went to high school, I finally opened up, because I re-met my old friends from my old middle school, before I moved to the new middle school. And then I opened up to them, and I talked to them, and we were having fun. That was my best year, actually. I was playing video games with them every day. We were doing homework together, and we were just always hanging out together, basically. And yeah, those were some great times. And then after that, I moved to a new school, right? And then a new high school, and then I had to leave those friends behind. It's if you understand the feeling, but basically just to give you a brief understanding of it, is basically you were so closed up, and you opened up to people. You finally opened up to people after being closed off for some time, and then just for them to go away again, So that made me felt what's that word called? It made me feel hopeless in finding new friends. Basically, I moved to a new school, right? And I was mostly my self-improvement. I was watching videos of Hamza, Andrew Tate, these guys. They were always talking about social skills, and I was reading how to win friends and influence people, and I was trying to improve my social skills, cold approaching and stuff like that. And it worked, because I had a good group of friends. We would wrestle randomly, we would grapple randomly, we would box in the class randomly. Those were some good times. And then right when I was open up to them, this and that, I moved to a new school, right? And this is the school I'm in now, which is my junior year. So I moved schools from there. And then this school, I didn't really like this school, because this is the school that I graduated in. I didn't really like it because I didn't really click with the people in it, because when you grow up from a whole different world from these people, it's kind of hard to click with them, and especially if it's your later life, So that's just a quick backstory. So what am I trying to get at all of this? Basically, the lesson I decided to record for this video is that trust in God's plan. Because let me talk about the first one. So the first school I moved, right? Let's just call it M, right? The first high school I moved from was M. And basically, this was the happiest moment of my life. One of the happiest moments of my life, because, I was, playing video games with my friends all day. And my mom used to give me everything I wanted, because, I was depressed. And so, she wanted me to feel better. And so whatever I asked her for, she just gave it to me. This was one of the happiest moments of my life. I finally had friends. I had finally had people to talk to, people to do. I used to laugh, and my YouTube channel was doing pretty good. I was streaming too. I became a Twitch affiliate. I was just so happy, right? Because my life was going good. But the reason why Allah took me out of that, He took me out of that, is because He knew that I would not grow my spirituality, my inner self, my mental health, if I didn't leave that. So He left me there, because they say that there's a saying that if God puts you through tough times, it's because He wants you to grow. He wants you to be a better person. because after every test, after every adversity, comes a stronger person. So he took me out of that, and I grew. When I moved to the new school, I became more motivated. I just had like that switch up, that change that I really needed at that time, because at that time, I wanted to hit the gym. I wanted to, start journaling. I wanted to start meditating. And I really couldn't do it in that environment, because all the time I would wake up, and then the first thing that would happen is, what the heck's happening with this light, bro? But the first thing that would happen was the boys on the Discord, you usually would just text me, and then they would like, yo, you on, bro? You get on, bro? Hop on, play this and that, grind. And instead of, you know, upgrading in video games, I wanted to actually upgrade in real life, right? I wanted to start working out. I wanted to improve my mental health, because at that time I was still on what is that word called? I was still on antidepressants. I was taking still anxiety pills. And I know that if I didn't get out of that position, I would like, my life would be so like sad, like if I look back at it now. So I understand the reason why God took me out of there and decided to put me in a new school, right? So he put me in a new school in my sophomore year. And basically, my sophomore year, I met a couple of great guys. We would run together, we would box together, we would grapple together. We did some cool things together, you know, and that's that. My sophomore year was like probably my best like high school life year, I would say. And what I mean by best high school life year is like, all those movies that you see about like high school life, like that was when I felt it the most, because that's when like all the teachers knew me, the principal knew me, the teachers loved me, and then like, you know, the people were talking to me, like what's it called? The students, they liked me, and then I was even gaining some attraction from girls, right? And that was the moment where I felt like the peak of high school, right? And then after that, we found a new house in a place far from my school, and we moved. I felt kind of sad, because that was the peak of my high school like experience. After I felt that sadness of leaving my first school, moving to the second school, I felt so much happier. But I left it, and so that left me sad. But now when I look back at it, I spent 2 years in that school, and the thing I learned from that school is that you don't need other people, or you don't need other things to find true happiness and self-fulfillment. Because if you rely on these external things, what's going to end up happening is that when these things are taken away, you do not know what to do. You don't know how to handle it. You don't know what to do with your life. So imagine if I graduated in that state of where I was getting these external validation and all these different kind of things, these high school life. I wouldn't know how to live with myself and how to make, myself fulfilled with doing things that is unrelated to external validation. And so what did I learn when I moved from that school? Number one, I was part of JRTC, basically. And JRTC is basically this military thing. And like, my experience there was heavily military, right? And like, I plan to go in the military there, this and that. And then, my life there was basically like solely focused on like that type of life. And basically, when I moved from there, I realized something that, hold up, this light is so crazy, bro. I realized that, you shouldn't, what's that word called? You shouldn't, what is that word called? You shouldn't make like something so, how do you say it? You shouldn't put killing innocent people on a pedestal, is what I'm trying to say, right? Because at that time I wanted to be like an infantryman. I wanted to go out and just like kill random people because I was like saying like I'm bloodthirsty, this and that I would get motivated. But when I left that school, I realized that, I didn't want to do that. because I started to become more spiritual. I started to become more religious when I left that, right? I started leaving all these external validation type of things all behind, because I wanted to join the military, because I felt like if I did that, people would see me as hard. People would start respecting me in my community because, I've always seen myself as the brown kid, the outsider kid, the kid who has an accent, the kid who's short, the kid who's like a different ethnicity from everyone else. I've always seen myself as that when I moved here. And maybe if I joined the military, maybe then I would get accepted by my community because I served my years, right? And, I just got a really, this light is so freaking trash, but I got a good opening when I moved schools. Because when I moved to the school, I didn't have any friends. The school was vastly different from the two schools that I went to from the past. And, it was heartbreaking. And every time that I felt sad that I didn't have any friends, I would break down and just prostrate and pray and pray that I would see the light in the end of this loneliness that I felt. And basically, after graduation, bro, I just contemplated and realized that all these external things is just a distraction from, your true purpose, which is to be a good person, to worship God, right? Because back then my purpose used to be external validation, what other people think of me. But once I moved to this new school, and I was forced to reflect on myself, and I was forced to go throughout school without any friends, without any companions or people to talk to. I was just forced to be with myself. And these 2 years, these 2 school years, made me realize that, life can be fulfilling and can be happy when it's just a simple life. Because back then I wanted I wanted the Andrew Tate red pill lifestyles. Everyone wanted a bunch of women, fast cars, this and that, with your best business. But these 2 years, it made me realize that all you truly need is a loving family, a job that you like doing, and a hobby you like doing, and faith, and something that makes you feel fulfilled, which is your faith. And if you have all these things, nothing else matters. Nothing else truly matters. If you have good health, you have a good family, you have something that you love doing and you do it every single time, and you have a job that you don't hate, and there's some actually cool people there, that is a pretty good life. And if you also have faith, you know that this is not the end. You could be going through a tough time. You know that it's not the end. You know that this life is just a dot of what eternal life is after this. When you have that faith, you realize that all these external things, these materialistic things, don't truly matter. This doesn't truly matter. So that was the lesson that I've learned, to trust in God's plan, because we don't know. Because every time I try to think about atheists, right, do they just contemplate in their life, put everything down? Do they just contemplate in their life and see every single string in their life that has been pulled, every string in their life that has happened, everything that has happened in their life, it's so perfectly crafted to the point where you're at right now. I'm not if you take a look back at it, if you're at a happy place in your life right now, every little string that has been pulled in your life has led you to a point where it's so crazy that you are where you are right now. And if you just don't contemplate, and you're saying no one else can do this unless the Creator has done this, we are where we are because we moved forward, right? And if we just move forward with the trust in God, what's going to end up happening is that we're going to live more confidently. We're going to live life more fearlessly. And in return, our quality of life is going to be better. We will be making better decisions. And yeah, that's pretty much enough for me. I hope that video helped you in some way, sort of form. And again, the title of this video is To Trust in God's Plan, because you don't know. He is the all-knowing. He's the all-powerful. And we may like something. This is a quote from the Quran. We may like something that is not good for us, and we may like something that is not good for us, and we may not like something that is good for us. So the only thing we can do is trust in God's plan and, have faith that He will make things better. That's enough for me. Hope that helped you in some way, sort of form. Be the best possible person you can be.